Welcome back, everyone. Happy post New Year's show. Today we have on Khaled on crypto. He's told me I'm told it's pronounced DJ Khaled, just like DJ Khaled goes as well. Shout out DJ Khaled. Definitely back in the day, liked a lot of his music and a lot of remixes, a lot of collaborations. Yeah, back in the 2000s rap. There you go. Pretty cool stuff. He's probably around still somewhere. The most memory I have of him right now is on the Hot Ones. Anyone watch the Hot Ones show where he's eating hot wings? And it was like I don't know if it's an epic fail. There was some controversy around that one, but if you look up DJ Khaled, the Hot Ones, the host of the show talks about it too. He was like one of the, I don't know if he had a great time eating hot wings one time. It's like the Michael Jordan meme when he's like, yeah, now everyone knows Michael Jordan is the guy who cried once. It's like DJ Khaled is, he ate some spicy wings one time, and anyways, he probably did. I'm sure he did a fine job. He did great, but I definitely like his music and the DJ Khaled, the echo, all that stuff. Anyways, I could chat in just a minute, but before we get too much into it, I might as well bring in our guest for the first time on the show, Khaled on crypto. How's it going, man?
What's going on? How are you?
Do you do an echo with your name? Do you Khaled on crypto? Co.
I should add that. Honestly, yeah. I should.
Yeah.
I actually recently changed my name. It used to be DJ Khaled, but I changed it to Khaled on crypto just to protect myself from I don't know, being sued by DJ Khaled himself.
I think I remember that now. I think I do remember he is DJ Khaled. I think I came across the tweet. So funny enough, yeah, that's it went well. But Khaled on cryptos, it's pretty good too.
It's not bad.
It's got a, what is that English? It sounds like you're more familiar with the UK version. You're probably more professional, but there's probably a word that shows you like or a way to describe something that plays on another word, like Khaled crypto. Mm. It's not rhyming, but it's like something in that realm. But anyway, it's got a good flow to it. I like it. How's it going, man? Like what's before we'll get into your story and stuff too in the community, but like what's the vibe right now on PulseChain? What are you feeling out there? What is, we got a lot of topics to go through, but what is your instinctual reaction? The big dump of the new year from the big pump on the Christmas, something like that.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest with you, I was anticipating for this since December because it's just times of holidays where people are not really thinking about investing. They're just thinking about cashing out, buying gifts, going on holidays. And I think the effect is kind of still seeping into January. And I think we're going to see it probably till mid-January. Pretty normal. At the same time, looking at Ethereum, one of the best monthly returns is in January. So I think as well, we will see Ethereum to probably start having a trend reversal. Because obviously right now, the ETH BTC is doing pretty badly. Bitcoin's doing relatively well, just under 100K. Ethereum, the ETH BTC is still at 0.035. Yeah, it's not doing well. But people call it the third cycle curse. But I believe obviously Ethereum's never gonna go anywhere. It's always gonna be top 2. Bitcoin's always gonna be top 1. We know it's 2025, the year of the altcoin season. This is all just a time delay. The sentiment is gonna fade away. So I'm bullish. Not very bullish.
Yeah, I think ETH is one of those. There's probably a class of them that solidify themselves for better or for worse. I mean, Ethereum, Bitcoin, of course, Solana. I mean, whether you like it or not, if it's got the VC backing, it's got enough people liking it, it's got enough money going into it, and enough pun intended pump and fun happening over there apparently. Then it's is there another ETF? If there were to be another ETF after Ethereum, Solana, XRP, again, whether you like them or not, they got some. Maybe they have staying power. I'm not sure. Do you feel like when you're looking at the macro like crypto environment, do you feel like there are certain ones that are like, okay, it's not going away. Like they're going to be here. People are going to put money into them. They may win, they may lose. But how do you feel about the broader crypto ecosystem?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think XRP, I don't know, recently went all the way to top 3 or top 4, just under USDT in market cap. The SEC partial win that had to do with that. In terms of, is it going to always be in the top 3, top 5? No, but I think it's probably going to stay in the top 50 for sure. But when you look at the chart, it did take them 7 years to break all-time high. That's 2 bull runs, or technically 1 bull run in a gap. At the same time, when you look into XRP, it just feels like a retailer kind of blockchain. People don't really understand it. They just follow the green candles. I've seen people talk about, oh, it's going to flip
Yeah.
Ethereum's market cap. It doesn't make any sense. I think even the fact people don't know that they have monthly token unlocks, like 1 billion XRP is unlocked in the past year, or 2024 actually. They've averaged a higher rate of selling some of those locks because usually they put them back in an escrow account to relock them, but they've been averaging around 40% where they would send it to centralized exchanges, and God knows what happens after that. So I don't want to be in a chain like that. They even have their own
Yeah.
stable coin that's a little bit centralized, too centralized. It has a clawback function as well, where not only can they freeze someone's holdings, they can also burn them. Like, it's in your wallet, they can burn them.
Wow. I've never heard of burning in wallet. I mean, that sounds like a cool token feature, but burning in wallet from a centralized party, maybe not the best for sure. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I kind of want to do an analysis of some of these other, just to point out. I think it'd be useful. Again, one of the data points that you're bringing up too is like how PulseChain is different from all these other things. There's so many things out there that some of them have pretty cool features. Some of them have great communities, and some of them are just like, what is that? That's not crypto. That's some other thing that's, I don't want to play that game type of stuff. So everyone's like, oh, echo chamber. You got to get out there and explore the other stuff. Well, tell me what there is to see outside of true DeFi. Like tell me, all the narratives that are happening out there could totally happen on PulseChain too. So it's interesting to hear, the burning from the wallet thing like that. I've never heard of that before. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, thing is with Solana, it had a great run for sure. I think it started off like the mini altcoin season back in March in 2024, which is good for them. It's like it went from averaging, I don't know, a few 100,000 daily active users to like right now 4 million daily active wallets. Or not daily active wallets. I think it's new active wallets. New wallets. Yeah. And, props to them, obviously. But I think they have a huge JIT issue. It's they don't have a strong community when you think about it. I think they're filled with paid shills. As you mentioned, VC insiders, extracting value. You have celebrities like launching crypto. They don't even know much about crypto. And now they're all about Solana. Oh my God, I'm going to work hard. I'm going to shill for this bag. And then all of a sudden they delete tweets. And then it's like, we've seen it what happened with the Hawktua, the 50 Cent, Jason Derulo, I think who else? Cardi B, like so many people extracting values. And then the fund that you mentioned, when they enabled the live streaming, that was one of the worst things. Like it pushed the degeneracy to the next level. Like,
wow.
Yeah, like
wow.
The people that were live streaming, man, it was crazy. And then the rugging, I think it was a really young kid who was like, 12, rugged for 30K. But it's getting really bad. A lot of people are down bad right now. I've seen a screenshot of a dev rugging for $7 in Solana.
I heard about that. Yeah, it's man, to rug for $7. It's got to be, almost seems like a fat finger. It's like, oh no, I thought it was 700. Like even then, it's like, that's it. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like I kind of want. Maybe I don't want to be impressed either. I don't want people to lose more money, but so it's kind of almost an okay story to have. Relief. But it's kind of it almost paints the picture of how nonsensical crypto can be once you start playing games like that.
Yeah, and I think unfortunately it's like the whole Jeep mentality where a meme coin in Solana just lives for 6 to 12 hours and that's it. It dies. People are already thinking about what's the next meme. But back then a meme used to actually stay for a whole year. I don't know why. I think it's
for
just
a whole
TikTok
30 days at least.
It's just too much TikTok out there. People have goldfish attention spans. So
yeah. Well, so I think we kick it off on this one too. And before we get into your story, because I always love to hear how people come to the community. But real quick, every once in a while I get comments, that are talking about, PulseChain, maybe not so great. Game over, guys, says Big David. PulseChain dead now. Is there just like an all-in-one refute of those comments? I'm just, I know we're all in the rabbit hole here, and it's kind of like that don't make any sense to, a lot of the community that have been here putting in the time and work and stuff, but I got to also acknowledge that's probably a common sentiment of people who had been here. And again, I don't know Big Dave. Maybe he's been here for years. Maybe he's been here for 6 months. I don't know. But I imagine that thought probably crosses the mind of people who are kind of, maybe they've been in the community for a while. They're disappointed over this or that. Is there something that, like, how do you respond to just people saying like PulseChain's over, going to a new narrative? Like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I also get why people have these doubts, but at the same time, it's because they probably don't know about like just generally how crypto markets move. We're still not in prime time altcoin season. They don't know that Bitcoin needs to move first, Ethereum needs to move second, and then we can expect the altcoins to move upwards. And actually, when Solana was really popping off, we've seen their core tokens do really well. INC went from 40 cents to almost $10, But in terms of people like losing hope, I think it's too soon. Just wait till the end of 2025, and then you can make that judgment. In terms of, what makes PulseChain really different from everything else, I think people will realize slowly. People actually have seen, like, they see how buggy Solana's network really is, with random RPC URLs like going down, failed transactions. So I think it's just the hype, and its turn will be done soon. It could be base chain next, but all I know is that PulseChain's turn is very soon. And at the same time, people have their verification check is it on a centralized exchange? If I can't buy it from there, I don't want to be in that. It must be a scam. And it's fair enough. Okay, you can wait till we're on a centralized exchange, but by then you're going to be too late. Most of those people, I guess they're happy with a 5x. They don't understand that if you jump the high barrier for entry, you'll be rewarded for that. This is how it feels in the early days of Ethereum, actually, just when it came out the pre-sale. This is how it felt. It was very high risk, high speculation. Who knew Vitalik before that?
That's true. We didn't know he was a 10,000 IQ alien until more recently.
Yeah, which I do argue as well that Richard Hart probably knows more about Bitcoin than Vitalik himself.
Definitely. I feel like Richard, I talked about this was it Zenith a couple of days ago on New Year's stream. And we're talking about, I think Richard's a polymath in a lot of different verticals. But I think, there are some things, he's not a dev. But his ability, I would put him in finance, and like his game theory, his finance, maybe some other things too. But he is world class at so many of the things that are very, very important. Not only important, they translate into other industries and other things. They're like these foundational basic things he is extremely good at. So it doesn't matter if he knows how to code or not. He has the resources, facilities, mind to come up with things and have other people help him with that stuff, aka the Pulse devs and the Hex devs and everything else. But like that part it's almost irrelevant to the ability to put things together, be like a good manager, be a good facilitator, be a good thought leader, be a good person to make amazing things happen and be the glue and the brains, the ideals of a lot of the things that are going on. And then that's how you scale yourself too. You don't need to do everything really well, but if you have a good foundation or a great foundation, like RH is, I put him against in the finance, investment, and innovation world. He's world class for sure, and that we're lucky to have. You're lucky to have a founder that does that. Again, Vitalik, you get there's a Cardano guy. There's a handful out there that are actually these visionaries that actually get stuff done and have these these goals that they will do anything to achieve. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is very true, actually. I think definitely something that I really like about Richard Hart is that everything that he does is, you can tell it's from his heart. We all know that he retired. Well, at least I know. A lot of us here, we know that he retired. Like, he's not doing this for money. He's doing this for legacy. He genuinely cares about his community. That's, I think, one of his greatest achievements. I think he's probably more proud about the community more than the technology that he made, actually. And he really does believe in making the world a better place, bringing more utility to crypto. This is why he wanted to make Hex. Also he cares about the environmental, efficiencies with Bitcoin. He also spoke about how Bitcoin has had 2 inflation bugs, thankfully, that were fixed. But at the same time, that does raise a question. This is why he moved on to Ethereum. Initially called it Bitcoin Hex, And then at the same time, probably one of the reasons why he then wanted to create PulseChain is because gas fees got too expensive on Ethereum. It's kind of a long story, I think, but I remember it was something to do with the S load. Um, like they spiked up the S load.
They increased the gas fee to use S load, something around there. I can't remember the technicals, but yeah, I've looked at it before.
With the Merlin or the Berlin merge, yeah.
Berlin,
and I think that was probably one of his fork. Yeah. I think it was still proof of work at that point, right?
Oh yeah, that's the time it was. Yeah, definitely at that time. Yeah, I think there's so many different ways to look at like the way that I've studied a lot of those. I've written blogs and stuff about like, how do you gather, basically like how do you make a cult? Like how do you get people together for a common mission to achieve something great? Whether you call it a cult, you can call it a group, you can call it a gathering, a following, whatever it is. And he is masterful at just being able to take a vision and doing what it takes to make it come true. And, when you're talking about PulseChain, reason, there's many, many different reasons and speculation. You could say like why it exists, why it happened. I mean, one thing that's pretty interesting is like a capital allocation. I think it's one interesting piece of it, beyond the environmental impact, beyond the cheaper fees, having a better place for Hex users. It's kind of like almost like so I guess two things that are talked about less than others. I guess one is like the branding, the app, Apple, the closed ecosystem, we own everything top to bottom, all fitting together and being able to have more control. And so you don't have to be, at the will of another network or another developer or stuff like that. And then the ability to have so much accumulated capital and have that in one place. And again, you can go, I'm sure we'll talk about later about the different theories and narratives with the P tokens, with the world's largest airdrop. You can go into, the OA and that whole like piece and, what has happened, what may happen in the future, what may not happen. ETH wells, different games like that. I always remember Richard talking about, there's going to be wells. There's going to be new wells. I mean, in the early Hex days, like we're not trying to get rid of wells. We're just trying to make new wells and like more, maybe more loyal or more favorable, or just all these different things they're good from having like a new set of things happening. And that keeps happening over and over and over with PulseChain. You got a new network. You got, new copies of coins. You got new capital locked up, sacrifices, all this stuff. So I think the marketing aspect, somebody in the chat mentioned marketing. I don't know why I forgot that, but yeah, he's definitely in the polymath category. He's definitely an expert, world-class at the marketing aspect too. And he knows how to get people together again, to make a common cause, go to the moon. And, that's freedom of everything. That's people making the world a better place, being a force for good in the world, multiplying himself and his values, I think is a huge part of it. That's what I think a lot of people, they look at him, they see the twerking, they see, or at least before they saw twerking, it's been a couple of years or so. They see, the whatever brashness. They see the him elevating himself as he should be. In a ways, he deserves a lot of it for creating such a thing, and doing what he thinks is best, whether it's talking a lot, not talking a lot, live streaming, not live streaming, whatever it is. He doesn't really care what you think is best. He's doing what he thinks is best. And the guy looks long-term for a lot of this. So I tend to trust more people who think long-term. So, but they look at that and see, oh, this is somebody who I have nothing in common with, or is he going to make me rich now or what? 6 months from now, am I going to get that 100x or not? Like I need to get in and out. It's not that kind of thing. It really is something much, much bigger, but it takes time and it takes an open mind to let that sink in. And you're either on board with it or not. And that's okay either way, but it's very, very different than anything else in crypto.
Listen, I 100% agree with that. I think number one, people talk about, and I talk about the sacrifice funds, etc. And I think he's not going to give away money for free. Like if we really think about it, and at the same time though, people think like, oh, we've been live for so many, a year and a half. We haven't seen that much life-changing gains, etc. They're doubting PulseChain. They don't understand that we've launched in the middle of the bear market. That's basically the best time to launch because it gives you more time to accumulate. The small, the fish, the shrimp, the people who are trying to accumulate to grow to become like a shark or a whale. And then obviously the SEC stuff came in, which, by the way, I think Richard Hart is probably going to counter sue them. That's probably for another talk. But People don't understand that we launched in the bear market. We barely are now in 2025. This is the time where you have to really hold. And at the same time, bull runs are actually it's a believer's bull run. So the people who are trying to, front run and, they trust what the big influencers say by, oh yeah, the bull run's going to end in March and April. So now they're going to try to front run it and probably sell in February or even late January. It's going to end up making it I don't know, probably a dampened altcoin season. I've always seen, just looking at pattern recognition, there always has been a second peak. And I think in that second peak, that's where it's going to catch everyone off guard. It's going to catch everyone off guard. It could be, 90% of us probably are not going to be around there because people are going to take profits. They're going to say, oh, thankfully I made my profits from this bull run. And then they're going to see the peak going even higher. They're going to FOMO back in, but at more expensive prices. People are going to be speaking to each other. They're going to say, oh, I knew about PulseChain before it was on centralized exchanges. It's like, oh man, I should have bought in. But it's like, it's so obvious. We have, as you mentioned, how he made PulseChain a layer 1 solution, better Ethereum in my opinion, easily better than it's an evolution of Ethereum. It's better scalability solutions. And at the same time, we have our own native services. In Ethereum, Uniswap is not native. In Ethereum, the stablecoin is not native. In Ethereum, at the same time, we're 17% quicker than Ethereum. Thousands of X's. I think it is still thousands of X's. Cheaper gas fees. So we're going to invite a lot of people who want to either learn. It's a great blockchain for people who want to learn, who want to build, who want to provide liquidity, who want to day trade. And we're new. We're cycle 1 narrative. It's always the cycle 1 narratives that are going to do the best.
Day trade, night trade, hodl, not trade. PulseChain has everything. It has a little bit of everything.
It does.
Speaking of that, before we get too much into it, though, great pre-conversation. I want to know about you and your story too. How'd you come across this crazy place called PulseChain?
Jeez, yeah. I mean, this is from the previous bull run, because I was kind of new to crypto in the previous bull run. I entered in 2021. Before that, I used to day trade in CFD trading, which I don't recommend anyone to do. It's mentally tough, to be honest. And at the same time, stock market, looking at it right now, it's not really worth it. But then after that, I just started dabbling in the previous bull run. I saw the bubbles that we had, NFT bubbles, metaverse, GameFi stuff. And then, I made a few good, good profit, etc. And then that's where I realized, I missed out on Hex. I wished I got in Hex. And then I saw the PulseX and PulseChain sacrifice. I sacrificed on both. And then actually at the end of the 2021 bull run or altcoin season, I just left crypto actually. Like I put my channel on pause. I finished my college degree. And I was actually probably not going to come back to crypto until my brother one day called me and he told me, hey, PulseChain actually launched. And I was like, wait, what? Yeah. And then I think I still didn't go back in because I checked my bag and I was like, okay, it's around 1-to-1 with what I sacrificed. And I was like, I'll just leave it. And then fast forward till October 23rd, literally just one day I woke up and I was like, hold on. I just remembered I always loved crypto. But at the same time, nothing motivated me to go back to crypto because everything just seemed the same thing. But once I actually got back and I realized, I was like, hold on, PulseChain was one of the ones that really stood out. I mean, to be fair, it was vibrant colors. PulseChain is really catchy.
Beautiful logo.
And then it is. Oh, that's a beautiful logo. And then Hex, the whole story of Hex, right? It just feels like the contrarian people. He went from being a hero to a villain all of a sudden. And I investigated. I was like, how come is he a villain? He made 10,000. He minted 1,000 millionaires. I wish I was one of them. And then I looked into it and I was like, hold on, whoa. If a lot of people are against him, he must be doing something right. In a good way. Because those people, they're mainly just reading the titles, the article headings of an article without reading the rest of it. Oh, he's a scammer. Oh, then he must be a scammer. People are calling him a scammer. And then I've seen live streams where Richard Hart is literally debating journalists. And then journalists are like, they don't want to entertain. They don't want to ask him actual criticism. They're just like throwing insults. And Richard Hart is there answering him objectively. It's like, how did I scam? What are you talking about? The OA never sold. Like, what are you talking about? I delivered on everything that I said I will. I made it 10,000x. How can you argue against 10,000? And then people say, oh, if it's 10,000x, it's too good to be true. People don't understand. Look at Bitcoin. It started off as a scam. It started off as a hard token to buy. And then actually, when you look at how many X's Bitcoin did, I think it's at 1 million X plus. So now when you really compare 10,000x to 1 million, which one sounds more like a too good to be true scam?
I think it's like, I mean, I hear Richard, saying flash crash to a penny on the exchange. And I think it's where he got the 1 million X. But I think it's like way more than 1 million X now.
Yeah, you're right, actually.
Yeah.
It's probably
whatever it is. But yeah, it is wild. I mean, that's, again, a lot of people, myself included, love to see his streams where he would debate anyone, and he debated everyone, like a Bitcoin Magazine. Well, not really debate Roger Ver, but he had a lot of very in-depth conversations with a lot of people. Peter Schiff. It's like all those. I mean, if you look at him, did he not win all of them, if not most of them? And you could put a scale on. I don't know if I think the fighter scale. You have like what's the scale when they determine who won a boxing match and stuff? They have some kind of scale. But if you put that on his interviews and his debates and stuff, man, the guy's a winner. He's a serial winner, as he says. So it's amazing. So you found PulseChain. You were like, yeah, Richard, everyone's calling a scammer. Probably not true then. And came into the community just fascinated with what are some of the things that you saw that again, people just, they can't get past, but you're like, no, that's bullish. Is there things that really struck you as like, that is insanely bullish to me? I don't know why somebody else doesn't get that.
Yeah, I mean, number one, I think it's, to be very honest, I think it's just the smart people that I've seen around. One of them is Sunny. Big shout out to Sunny, by the way. Like, I've seen the narratives that I've never heard before. I was like, wait, what? And of course, as you mentioned, the world's largest airdrop, the fact that, this guy, he really does believe in making the world a better place, and he believes in, okay, let's be the change that we want to see. I love everything that he stands for, and the fact that the whole SEC, I think it's good to leverage of it, because I think at the same time, being basically before the SEC dismissal, which I think it's inevitable, it's just great to be in such a contrarian blockchain, right? And it just feels great, man. Like, I sleep like a baby at night, knowing like 100% of my portfolio is in PulseChain. But it's mainly the community, man. Like the super smart people, the narratives that have never been done before, and only possible in PulseChain. Like, you can't have it anywhere else. Even if you want to replicate it now, you cannot, because PulseChain is not just a layer 1 fork; it's a full system state copy of Ethereum. It's the blockchain that sacrificed, what did we get, 1 billion plus people sacrificed for freedom of speech? For freedom of speech, man. In the whole SEC case, this is not just a fight against Richard Hart. Like, they're also suing pieces of code, compiled assembly code. Like, what? They're gonna show up in courts with lawyers? Who, like, it doesn't make sense. Like,
I mean, AI is getting pretty good. You never know. AI robotics, you never know.
Yeah. So yeah, it's the whole stuff that he's getting sued for. I think it's also a fight against crypto in general. So I think a win for this case is a win for all of crypto. That's what people don't understand. And I just support Richard Hart for that. And as well, it's just community. I think the community is one of the greatest assets. Everything that we have right now, aside from PulseX, is community built. Shout out to all the other dexes, stuff like GoPulse, Pulse Coin List, Petit as the aggregator. It's amazing stuff that we have here.
Yeah.
So I feel like
what would we do without Petias? Like, it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly. And at the same time, Hex is amazing as well. I was looking at how it works, understanding actually what is T-shares. I was like, whoa, I don't want to miss on it. That's why I got into P-Hex. It's just a newer chart, cycle 1. It's beautiful. I believe in history can repeat, or at least it often rhymes. So it makes sense. If we were able to be in the top 10 CMC list, we can do it again. Even though right now, actually, CoinMarketCap, they've been de-ranking PulseChain products, big time. We're like number 6 top chains by TVL, but somehow we're still ranked 3,000 in CoinMarketCap. It doesn't make sense.
Well, Yeah, Uniswap, CoinMarketCap, MetaMask. Oh, that's all the things that we know about and we could see. Not to mention that there may be some shadow banning on social media and stuff. Who knows? Like, it wouldn't surprise me. It's like those are the gates that I think, even if they're not even, I think, you talk about SEC, Interpol, like whatever, all these pieces. Do you think they're always going to be there? Do you think they're not going to? People aren't going to finally see through them like they are, legacy media, right? Like irrelevant these days. That everything's going the way of podcasting for a reason. The truth eventually will come out about these products, and some of them are still going to be scams. But Hex and PulseChain are not scams. Like it's a ridiculous notion with no data to back it up.
100%. Yeah, I think as well, it's just the fact that, thankfully we have people like Donald Trump finally come back into the office. People like Elon Musk. I think he made Twitter to be a better place, in my opinion, with the whole, promoting freedom of speech. I think we're now also shifting towards independent media, which is really good. You become the media. And I think that's how the truth will come out. At the same time, people asking why Richard Hart didn't live stream. I think he's obviously, he doesn't want to live stream because it will be used against him for the SEC case.
There's a famous quote that I always remember that applies to so much in life that he talks about is a lot of things. There's no benefit. There's no benefit to doing certain things. You could apply to the live stream. What's the benefit? I mean, if I know obviously it makes the community happier and all that stuff too, but like, is that the plan to do stuff for us, or is the plan to, have maximum benefits? Like there's so many things that, people. Yeah. Anyways, I want to get there's a few questions in the chat real quick.
Yeah.
When, I imagine this meant court decision. When court decision? Recently, I had on New Year's stream, Zenith and I were talking about January. That would be 60 days just passed, I think, on the 31st or so. Do you think we'll hear something in January? When do you think?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, isn't it Judge Carol? That's her name, Carol?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I've seen someone say that historically, I think it was actually Nuclear Herb. Big shout out to him. He said that historically, Judge Carol, she takes 60 to 90 days to reply back for a case. So I do believe we're going to hear something in January, which I'm very excited because it's going to be around the same time that the inauguration day for Donald Trump, probably as well when Gary Gensler finally leaves as well, replaces him.
Are the stars aligning?
Yeah, they are aligning, actually, yeah. There's also a thing called the Benners. Well, speaking of stars aligning, but no, actually, let me go back. I was going to say inauguration day, probably Gary Gensler leaving as well, replacing him with a pro-crypto. I think it's Paul Atkins. I think he's pro-crypto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is such great news. And I think I even saw CCN. They mentioned that it's very likely that all the SEC cases will be dismissed, which is kind of bullish.
I wouldn't be surprised if at least a good portion of them are, because what's the point, right? Like, why, if your whole cabinet, if all the people you have that you want to run these agencies and stuff are at least pro crypto or neutral crypto, or at least you've got a lot of people out there who are holding things back, why wouldn't that mean that a lot of stuff goes away? Like that's just logic at that point.
Yeah. So, I'm very optimistic, actually. I would like to think I'm an optimistic person. Well, realistic, but more optimistic.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a white swan event as well sometime this year. We've seen Michael Saylor injecting billions in Bitcoin when it was near all-time highs. With Michael's strategy, that's really good. We're legitimizing Bitcoin, which obviously has a knock-on effect for the rest of crypto. The whole ETF thing, as you mentioned, is it going to be Solana next? I don't know, but even if they approved Solana ETF, fair enough. That means it's one step closer to having a PulseChain ETF.
Man, one day. Well, I think I've commented on this before. I don't want a PulseChain ETF anytime soon, because that means that we've already hit the highs.
That's true. That's top signal.
I want it after maybe a couple cycles after the 10,000x or whatever we end up getting. But yeah, every time I see Michael Saylor buying it, it's like MicroStrategy has acquired 5,000 more BTC at 106K. I'm like, you're buying at all-time highs. Is this all-time highs? Like it does make you kind of like check for a second, like is that bullish? I don't know. So definitely looking for, hopefully we did. Yeah, at this point I would like to have some white swans. I'm tired of black swans and nothing, neutral swans. I want some white swans if that's the up and to the right swans.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Logic, Hopium. Hopefully they go together this year. What's another one? You guys still, so Mark, I think you got some low expectations, but I hope you're right, but I hope we go way beyond that. You guys think we will hit SAC one day?
Easily,
I'll let you
bro.
take this one.
Just the fact that because I just want to, one of my favorite core tokens, by the way, is I'd say PulseX. PulseX PX, amazing. Obviously, the Pulse, I just think Pulse is a direct 2x leverage. So, all four. With PulseX, it's literally a better Uniswap. Not just because we forked it, we made it a native service to PulseChain. It's deflationary. Uniswap is not deflationary. And I believe actually they did have the deflationary feature in the code. They just never activated it for whatever reason. And look at Uniswap. It's basically damn near a centralized, the most centralized DEX out there. They bent the knee for the SEC. You can't swap hex. Didn't make sense. And now they're talking about V4 or whatever. But yeah, look at PulseX. Like the fact that I think we're averaging like 50K in daily burns, which is so sick. And I think in the when we had the Interpol FUD, which was, by the way, that dip got eaten up in a couple days, the quickest 2x I've seen. I think we burnt like 300K in 2 days consecutively worth of PulseX. It's crazy. We're at like 5.8% of the supply burnt in under 600 days, or I think around 600 days. Very powerful.
Wow. That is crazy. Yeah, it's PulseX. I think so many people sacked for it, and a lot of them sacked, maybe I should have sacked more for PulseChain. Let me sack more for this. And then, of course, if everyone's plan is to do that, it's ratios got to come out of somewhere for these things too. But it's one of those where there's so many people that got into it and had such high hopes. And again, we talked about tokenomics. They are amazing, God level, God tier, tokenomics in so many different ways. And and who knows, maybe in the future, there's more stuff. There's more things. There's, all these things can happen too. But the fact that much burning happens all the time, and you got the premier decks, you got most liquidity, a lot of great community projects, but nothing comes close to being anywhere, do anywhere what PulseX is doing as far as volume and, TVL and stuff like that. And you got a ton of people who have a vested interest in hoping it goes up, assuming they haven't sold at this point, assuming they haven't sold below SAC, because I don't think I think it almost touched SAC one time, is the highest I ever got. I know, if I remember correctly, Pulse did about 2.5. And again, depending if your multiples and all that stuff, I'm just saying like what most people got at the base level was around 2.5 SAC. And then I think PulseX touched SAC or around it. Ink was $80. I mean, wild times.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask this, and something I tweeted the other day, I want to remind everyone, we're coming up on January 6th / January 7th. That is when the big pump happened last year. January is just, oh man, I just want this to be the best month ever. This comment from Addy Willow. So we're all waiting for 1 month God candle. That's it. Will we sell our bags because bull market experience the pick year, the whole year, maybe the pick year. I'm not sure. Do you think that a lot of people will sell early? Like, do we still have a lot of people looking to exit at this point, or have they been? It's like this cycle of like, I've been beaten down so much. Oh, it's going to be okay. Oh, I want to get out. Oh, but it's going to be okay. Do you think we'll see some people exit at SAC price 2x, 3x? But then, we'll have plenty of people who have significant bags who have held on to it and said, no, I'm in this. I'm ride or die. I'm in this thing. I'm going to, not ride or die, but like I'm not satisfied with anything below a, 100x, whatever it is.
Yeah.
How do you think that's going to play out once we start getting some green candles going?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think it's definitely the milestone is above SAC rate. I think there's probably going to be a little bit of, probably a lot of resistance. I don't really know. I think, and then we're going to probably break into price discovery. We're going to shake out. And I think this whole time we've actually been slowly shaking out people. The dips are being eaten by strong-handed people. We're distributing the tokens more. Whales are exiting, which is really good. But no, I think, people are probably going to try to front run and leave early, which is fine. I think it's just part of the game of crypto. They're going to probably either come back later at higher prices, Me personally, I think we might even have a super cycle. The last time we had a super cycle was when also Donald Trump uh, won the election, back in 2017. So we might also see a super cycle where it extends all the way to 2026.
Well, speaking of that, great segue. Question from Tommy3. Tommy says 50 days of Euphoria. Are we in agreement on that? Do you think, what would the super cycle do versus 50 days of Euphoria? What are what are your thoughts on that?
That's a very good question, actually. Yeah, because I usually have, I look at the others crypto total crypto market cap, and I have these traces that I show the two peaks, and I think 50 to 100 days is around the right time where that's euphoria phase where it's like everything's high, Bitcoin is all time high, it's doing great, Ethereum's doing really great, altcoins are doing the best in terms of rate of growth. That is where you need to realize, okay, let me start taking profits per week. Let me start, rotating slowly to stable coins or whatever, which is true. So yeah, 50 days, 50 to 100 days. Yeah. I mean, again, 50 to 100 days, you split it over the two peaks. But, with PulseChain, by the way, like I have bags that I'm going to be holding till the next bull run. Like I don't want to touch them, putting them in a cold wallet, forgetting about them. That's actually the key to it. I need to forget about them. PulseX is a prime one of them, like PulseX and PHEX. They're one of those tokens that I just want to forget about. Have long-term ladder stakes. Maybe on my birthday, New Year, maybe even I have a few like every month. But the core tokens, do not underestimate the core tokens. They're the blue chips of PulseChain. People will recognize at some point that this is the most decentralized blockchain. We're going to be here in the next bull run. And guess what? PulseX is going to keep burning, regardless of whether people buy or sell the token itself. As long as we have volume across those PulseX LPs, which, as you mentioned, it's the highest DEX with the highest TVL, we're buying and burning. That means every single day, your bag that you're holding in PulseX becomes more expensive for others to buy. It's a no-brainer.
Oh, it's important to have these, like, I just don't think people, they get caught up in this, oh, the price, it's below SAC, I've been waiting forever. Oh, if, when the founder is not streaming or all this stuff. If you go back to the stuff that a lot of us have been talking about for years now, and the fundamentals, the technicals, if you look at how the system is just primed to pump in every different direction, I don't know. It's just waiting. It's just a waiting game. Like why wouldn't I always talk about, like, there's nothing is certain. All I can do is place my bets accordingly, and what I think is going to do well, and all that, and put my time and energy in things that I believe that I want to contribute and create value in. Nothing is certain, and in a sea of uncertainty, you just it's like now I hear somebody saying believe in something. It does kind of remind me of that. It's just like nobody knows anything. It's just like you gotta, but I think it's unreasonable. It's unreasonable. PulseChain doesn't achieve glory. It is unreasonable. Is it going to happen? I don't know, but I think it's unreasonable that it doesn't happen. And that's good enough for me.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, you are right with the whole just believe in something. It's really just a matter of time. But
it's 2 more weeks, Blair says.
2 more weeks. Yeah. I mean, even, look at other TA tools, like even the moon phases. We're going to have a full moon, I think around the 14th of January. So, if you're looking into that kind of TA.
Full moon. Yeah. I mean, I've heard some people make, either be conjecture and predictions around that or otherwise. Yeah. I want to talk about the P narratives too. I know I've seen all your content around some the different coins and things around that. What compels you to really be so excited about the different narratives? Like, what is compelling about, world's largest airdrop, these things having a ton of, some of them at least having a ton of liquidity, and different specific, narratives and ideals around how they're going to do this mechanic or that mechanic, or just go up in value one way or another. Yeah. What is, if you could just lay it out for people, and you can talk about specific coins and stuff if you want to too, but like, what is the overall ideal that is being put forth by PulseChain with this airdrop?
Yeah. I mean, the PRC 20 narrative, in general as a concept, it's such a beautiful, never done before narrative where everyone gets a copy of what they were holding in Ethereum, as long as they were holding it before. I think it was the snapshot was probably taken 10th or 11th of May, and then PulseChain launched that 13th. And then, yeah, it basically has given everyone an airdrop where you can almost guarantee, you can now go and tell people, hey, there's this freemium feature where if you just go to PulseChain, you have an airdrop worth some value waiting for you. That is it. And guess what, though? At the same time, which before I want to talk about PDI and PWC, we even have centralized exchange wallets airdropped large amounts. And I think Binance, I think Coinbase, I think OKX, they all know they have these, extremely large. I think they're worth millions, by the way. So that's their enlisting fee. That's their liquidity holding accounted for. At the same time, I just think it's just generally they're probably waiting for the SEC case, which, it just tells me that Richard Hart really thought about everything. Now, is Richard Hart behind the PRC 20 main narratives like PDI, PWC? I'd like to believe so. For a lot of reasons. There's been around 5 tweets that Richard Hart mentioned the ERC20 copy that did a 5000x. The only ERC20 copy that did a 5000x was PDI. And he even mentioned the liquidity of it, which, by the way, when you look at the top liquidity pairs in PulseChain, PDI LP with Atropa is the thickest LP. It's burnt. That's real money burnt. Which is interesting. Like, whether you believe it's speculative if Richard Hart is behind it, which, I'd like to say I'm very certain that he's behind it. Of course, I can't tell you it's 100%. That's part of it being speculative. I've seen Richard Hart tweet about people not to waste money in swapping from Pulse to Wrapped Ethereum because people think because it's 1-to-1. I think you can wrap your Pulse to Wrapped Ethereum. I'm not sure because he mentioned that you're wasting slippage 0.3% slippage as you swap to it. And in my head, I'm like, Richard Hart just wrote 2 paragraphs warning people to not waste money. And he didn't warn people from a PDI narrative that he's not behind. That's the thickest LP in all of PulseChain. That tells me something. That tells me that he's probably aware of that. He's probably behind it. And he just wants it to be a speculation because it's too soon. I don't know why people made rumors that, it's going to peg at this time, that time. No. I don't care when it's going to peg. I believe. You know what I mean? I'll wait. I'll wait till the end of 2025. What's up? It's fine. Same thing with PWBTC. We had PWBTC farms on the PulseX. They're disabled. They were there at some point. I think he's going to strategically put them back again. And again, this goes back to the whole freemium thing, by the way, which is it's going to attract the Ethereum whales who are holding their Wrapped BTC, who are holding their PDI or their DAI on Ethereum, not making any yield, just collecting dust. And all of a sudden, imagine now we can go and tell those whales, hey, you can just come to PulseChain, supply liquidity to PDI, EDI, to the PWC, EWC that are 1-to-1 parity, and you make a 50% APR, 20% APR. Everyone's going to start coming into PulseChain. They're going to realize, hold on, this is a great deal. I'm now making 20% APR instead of collecting dust. And again, at the same time, this is all going to push towards the stability, and we're going to probably become one of the thickest TVL chains, which we are top 6 already. Imagine top 6 by TVL. You can check it on Gecko Terminal for anyone who wants. Top 6. And PulseX is top 9, I think, in terms of TVL DEX. A gate-kept DEX.
Check.
That's not on any centralized exchange.
Yeah,
Gecko Terminal.
I don't think I've actually checked Gecko Terminal for...
if you type DEX TVL.
DEX TVL. I usually use DeFi Llama on this one.
Was it DeFi Llama? Yeah, maybe you're right. For PulseX DEX stuff is DeFi Llama.
I'm sure they have... let's see. Maybe these go by the TVL, the polls. Oh, there's PulseX. It's does number 40 for its. I think it goes by particular pools, not total. Maybe.
Yeah, I think DeFi Llama actually is the one that I looked at for the DEX TVL. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. PulseChain. Let's look it up real quick. So TVL 550, and if you go, where is protocols, dexes. So if I click on dexes,
Yep.
let's see.
Look
We
at
are
that.
number
12, I think. No, you passed it. Yeah, 12. I think it was.
oh
Nine.
9. Yeah. Number 9. Sunchain. Is that Justin Sunchain? Oh shit, I think it is. Or it's on Tron at least. The Sun
That
Dex.
doesn't count.
Oh, Tron. Tron's still around. Tron is that guy's a multi-billionaire too, but I think he's also an ETH whale. I think that's the story, Justin Sun. I'm not sure how much is in Tron, but I think he's like one of the top ETH whales of the founders, if I remember correctly.
Is it a layer 1 or layer 2 Tron network?
I think it's layer 1.
Layer 1.
Yeah, I think so. Is Tron layer 1? I don't have a ChatGPT pulled up, but Google should do it. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. Looks like, yeah. So number 9. That is pretty cool. That's something I don't look at a lot. Is like, where does PulseX fit in the DEX rankings as far as TVL? That's pretty impressive. You got to say. I mean, this is before. This is where we are now. This is not what a lot of people imagine glory looks like. This is not your 100,000, 10,000x. This is right now. PulseX is number 9 TVL after it's down 30% TVL in 1 month change. I mean, what we got to double a couple times, and we're up there with Pancake Swap, 3 or 4 times, like Uniswap.
Easily.
I mean, how far are we away from that? Not really, not that far. We do a 10x. What was that? Yeah, 10, 12x or so.
Absolutely.
Guys, do not underestimate PulseChain. I want to show too. You're talking about the P copies, and I was just looking up the different. So if you just type in I'll just do Ethereum, Whales, Etherscan, and it'll go to a page. Etherscan. Spell correctly, and then top wall. Okay. Top Ethereum wallets, Etherscan. Come on. And it'll show you, I'll put this in the chat. It's etherscan.io/accounts. And you can look at the different ones. I just pasted some in here, and you can see some of them have like millions and millions of dollars. Again, may not be millions of liquidity for a lot of these tokens. Apparently a ton of exchanges and otherwise held a lot of SHIB. That was very, very popular at the fork date, apparently. A lot of SHIB. A lot of other tokens as well, but a lot of these exchanges have a ton of coins. Now, are they ever going to use the coins? Well, some of them have less than others, but if they never use them, is that supply that's gone forever, or locked up, or not circulating? If they do use them, are they validating PulseChain? Is there not a win-win situation here? It's amazing.
That is very true. Yeah. I mean, the greatest thing as well, some of them you can see like Binance 14, that's a centralized exchange just holding it. That imagine now all of a sudden then Binance is like, oh, check out this. We just listed a P Pepe, P SHIB, where we turned back time. Where it's I don't know, it's 700x from parity. Not saying that it will reach, but just very fun to see. PWC as well, that's crazy. PSTC, oh wow, PDI. Yeah, this is.
Yeah, some of these have a ton of extractable value as well. I mean, you can, I think, does it say, so this is the value, but if you do some, I thought it used to say how much was in the liquidity pools, and we can check and stuff, but a lot of these, again, some of them have more liquidity than others on PulseChain, right? As of now, again, what does that look like when things are actually, popping off? But millions of dollars in a lot of the top wallets from Ethereum on PulseChain. And how much do you have? If you haven't checked already, you know what to do. Go pulse.com. You can also go to Go Roll DeFi and click airdrop. That'll take you there as well. Go pulse.com/start. Type in your favorite address. See how much is there, whether it's yours or just some whale that you'd love to have as much tokens as they have.
It's such a beautiful onboarding feature. The fact that you can say, oh, just come to PulseChain, you'll have a guaranteed, most likely guaranteed value waiting for you. And then even if it's whales, now once they come in, they're going to have a 50-50 chance where they're either going to be like, oh, cool, more money, I'll take it, I'll leave. or a 50-50 chance they're going to put in more money and be like, hold on, I want to stick around and find out. You know what I mean? Like, this is the beauty of it. Like, that's the concept that's working.
It's amazing. Yeah, somebody asked, is Tron EVM? First I thought no. Let's see. But it's compatible. It says TVM is compatible with EVM.
Oh.
Interesting. Did not know that.
TVM, yeah. Because I don't think you can add Tron to MetaMask. Oh, no. I'm getting confused with Ton and Tron. Yeah.
I think you can write, I think the smart contract, I mean, what this says, it says devs can use the same Solidity to develop and compile on both Tron and EVM. So maybe there's some other features. I'm not sure if you can add it to MetaMask, but maybe there's some other features that make it, let's just ask, can use Tron on MetaMask? Yeah, I didn't think so. But I think there is some compatibility stuff to make it, make some of the features and stuff work. Or at least write the same type of contracts is what I meant to say.
Which I think, by the way, I have realized that EVM compatible blockchains have higher chances or better chances at longevity.
Yeah, well, and that's the cool thing about PulseChain is that you can literally, all the upgrades was a master. I mean, it just definitely made a lot of sense to do going away from the BSC smart chain, what PulseChain would originally be a fork of, and going to ETH 2.0, because I mean, not only is it, the environmental stuff and all the other pieces that were good for it. Now we get all the updates for free. They do some cool update, PulseChain improves. Like, we can take the updates too, because we're just a fork. We can take whatever EIPs they do in our devs, as long as their devs are going to fork, and we can choose which ones we want to take. If we think something's better for the network or not, we can choose whether to accept it. So it's definitely the right move to do ETH 2.0 fork.
That's beautiful. Yeah. And actually, something I also mentioned before we get into that, the fact that we had the Ethereum ETF gotten approved, does that mean that PulseChain by default should also inherit that attribute, that it's ETF approved, that it's not a unregistered security?
Well, you could certainly make a case for it. We may see that come up at some point, or hopefully we won't have to. Hopefully it'll just those leave EVMs alone. But
that's true.
Yeah, I think for PulseChain, there is there's been some discussion around that. So hopefully we'll never even have to take it that far. Hopefully, again, it'll just be, jurisdiction, and it's not a good case to bring anyways, along with the other, I'm sure numerous other cases. But yeah, it's there's so many things. I always remember Richard saying, I got a lot of things in my back pocket, a lot of tricks in my back. I'm like, I don't think we've seen anything yet. I think that gets me pumped up.
100%.
But this post too, before we wrap up here, I want to talk about this post. I thought it was interesting because you started with unpopular opinion, so you already hooked me. You already got me there. I'm like, okay, let me read a little bit. Let's see what he's talking about. And he says, so popular opinion, why I think PulseChain SAC funds strategy will work. And then, you want to go through and just kind of explain, like, what maybe first frame it with, what is the common conception of this, and like, why is this different, and what kind of got you thinking in this direction?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing with sacrifice funds, I think, we've seen clips where Richard Hart was bragging about the sacrifice funds holding around, 500 million plus. It's clear that he's going to use the same strategy that he did with eHex, I believe, when he longed Ethereum and then rotated it back into Hex when Ethereum basically reached top. We're going to probably see the same thing. And I would rather see this strategy than him paying disingenuous content creators. That's number one. Number two, with the whole sacrifice funds, why is it great for PulseChain? At the same time, yes, I don't believe he's going to do this, I've seen people talk about, he needs to do it. He needs to do this now when everything's cheap. No. He's going to do it when you least expect. He's not going to give money for free. At the same time, though, I think I've even seen theories, what if eHex is also one of those tokens that are going to be exposed to the sacrifice funds? But in general, as a concept, why is it a strategy that will work? The number one thing I mentioned, reflexivity, which is basically the fact that if you now start an event of pumping a price, buybacks, which, by the way, we've seen track records on chain of millions going into PulseX and Pulse in the past year, around April time, I think, March, April. where, now you're starting a small, green candle. It's going to attract people. And now as the prices go up, as the market cap goes up, it's going to actually attract bigger buys. That's the whole point of reflexivity, that I wrote, the positive feedback loop. And then now people want to FOMO in, they're going to buy in the price, which obviously is going to do the next effect, which is, increase the prices. Increasing prices will attract more eyes. And then now we're going to be in this loop, the positive feedback loop. So that's number one. And obviously you heard behavior that I mentioned, the second one, where, I mentioned like 95% of people, the non-believers, the retail traders, they don't want to do research. They don't want to feel early on something. They just want to make the simplest choices, which is, oh, what's popping off right now? Let me go follow it. Let me follow the already happening green candles. You know what I mean? Which is fair enough, man. These people are just not really destined to make financial or generational wealth, which is fair enough. This part of the game, really. Not everyone wins in crypto, unfortunately, unless you're in PulseChain early. But herd behavior is one of them, right? And then I mentioned Metcalfe's law, which is a very interesting concept that Richard Hart himself mentions, like he taught us this, which is if you double the user base of a network, you effectively quadruple the value of it. So if you double it, you basically take 2 to the power and you square the number of change. So 2 to the power of 2, that's 4. At the same time, that means if you now 10x the user base, you 10 to the power of 2 the value of it, which is 100x. Again, this is all theory, right? But at the same time, when you look into, I think it was AppHex, I'm not sure, it was a nice stats website where it shows the daily active wallets that we have. The daily active wallets, and I think we're averaging around 14,000 or 10,000. It's nothing compared to where Ethereum is. Yeah, it's this one where BNB is. I think BNB has around so if you scroll down, I think a little bit more. BNB has around 1 million daily active wallets. Ethereum has around 500,000 daily active wallets. We don't even need to surpass that. Even if we were 1/5 of that, we're 10xing the user base. 10xing means we can expect 100x price levels, 100x support levels. You know what I mean? Like, that's the crazy part. Metcalfe's law is actually real. Like, it makes sense. It's the network effect. And as well, I did mention the liquidity removal, which is another theory that I've seen people keep an eye on, where they said keep an eye on those liquidities. If Richard Hart slowly removes the liquidities, that's a sign that he's probably about to inject, which could happen, because obviously with less liquidity, it's basically like a weight effect. It's something that's more liquid. It gives it the cushioning, where it's also heavier, it makes the token heavier. So it's a double-edged sword, really. But in general, I also just do want to mention that with sacrifice funds, it is a proven concept where you had in the previous bull run, towards the end of the altcoin season, you had Avalanche. They had they basically forced like their mini altcoin season by injecting 110 million into the ecosystem. And I was there as well, actually. Avalanche at some point was popping off. So now imagine we have PulseChain, where it's going to probably have a 10x, like a 1 billion buying power, because Ethereum at $7,000, that's 1 billion in sacrifice funds, which is crazy powerful. Like 1 billion in sacrifice funds.
Wow.
So I'm sticking around for that. That's like my final resort, by the way. In all honesty, I believe we don't need Richard Hart. God forbid, he gets jailed or whatever, pulls up Satoshi on us. I don't think we actually don't need him. I think we're going to do great. We're doing great either way. We're slowly growing up. Yes, you look at the core tokens, they're slowly, moving up. Hex is actually, 4x from all-time low. That's really good. The fact that we are still not in full altcoin season effect. You have to see this as a glass half full instead of half empty. This is your chance. New people that are coming on. I don't know why when the prices are low and there's low volume, people actually don't want to buy during those times. It's so crazy. You can show them the Wall Street cheat sheet, the chart thing. You can show them, put them in front of their face and be like, look at this. Optimism or denial. After that comes the optimism and then thrill and then euphoria. So you want to buy at this point. This is where you want to buy. They're like, okay, great. But they still won't buy. Like, oh no, I need to wait until more volume, until more people buy. Yeah. Then I need confirmation. Don't fall for the herd behavior.
Nobody wanted to buy Bitcoin at 16K Now I hear everyone, oh, Bitcoin, oh, it's so obvious. Oh, it's just going up so great. It's over 100K now. Everyone's excited about it. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. I've seen people, it's so crazy. They put hashtag Bitcoin on their Twitter description. I was like, oh, all of a sudden you became a maxi until it hit 100K, which is so funny. It's
yeah.
like you've been here the whole bear market when it went all the way down and nobody was buying it, low volumes. And at the same time, this is what Richard Hart said, by the way. Like he spoke about how Bitcoin itself was called a scam. It was hard to buy. It was only available to buy in a few exchanges. Mount Gox was one of them. I think there's one before that, LHS, I think. I'm not sure.
Mm.
And that's where people called it a scam. That's where not a lot of people jumped in on it. But you need to understand that's when it's the best time to be in on something. When the barrier for entry is high, when it's being called a scam, yeah, you are getting as much reward as much as the perceived risk. Which is, by the way, like the perceived risk, in my opinion, I think the risk is way lower than what I think it is because everyone's trading emotions at the same time. That's why I'm not really short-term price oriented. I have a fixed goal. Well, at the same time, I can't tell you how many X's core tokens will make. I think it's more about, just great investment, really, believing in the long run. If I want to win first, fair enough, I can, but I'm not going to win big. If I want to win big, I have to hold it till the finish line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What doesn't make you go to zero makes you stronger. Like this community has just been like, you know what? I don't care at this point. I don't care. You can whatever case, whatever price down, whatever whale sells, I don't care. We're gonna win, and I'm here for that to happen. I want to make sure that happens. So yeah, it just like all the FUD, all the stuff is irrelevant. I could not care about it.
It's just short-term bearish sentiments that most of them, they always fade away. You saw the Interpol FUD. It was nothing. It was nothing. We've had it all. We've actually had all types of FUDs thrown at us. So, it's so crazy to me. It's so obvious as well. One of my favorite quotes from Richard Hart, he would say, volatility is the price that you pay for holding the world's best assets.
Yep. It is.
So I'm fine.
It is. I see people who, I would say if you talk to friends and family or otherwise, I don't think anyone's talking to friends and family these days about crypto, at least in our community, after the sacrifice and all that. The feeling of like, oh, what if, it's not even about it going wrong. It's just about having to have that conversation until it does go right. And you're like, I just don't want to deal with it. A lot of people, I imagine, share that, have that sentiment. But it's like, it's one of those things that, you see people, they want to make money. They have good intentions. Maybe they'll buy, maybe they have a chance of buying low, but they do not want to take on the risk. They cannot fathom the risk. They cannot wait. They cannot just believe in a product. And it's like they go into it gambling. And then if you go into it gambling, I've talked about this before. If you go into it, if you treat crypto like it's gambling, how are you ever going to hold anything? Because your whole premise of going into it is, I'm just going to throw some money in. And if it goes away, whatever, I'm going to have this emotion or that emotion. But if you do that, it's so easy to pull your money out and just run away. Again, that's why staking solves a lot of this too. But if you treat crypto like gambling, you're going to, you may have the percentage of winning the gamblers have. And it's not, from what I hear, what I hear is it's not very big. If you treat it like an investment and you just, again, no matter what happens, again, hopefully you didn't buy a rug and you stick with it, chances are you look at the history, nobody's got a crystal ball, but you look at the history of other products like that, look at Bitcoin, look at Ethereum, look at all these stuff, look at, again, all the opportunities in Hex and PulseChain and stuff and all the things that we hope are going to happen in the future. That's not by treating it like a gambling thing that you could just, you're in it for a week and you leave. It's much different. So having that mindset in cryptos, I think it's very important. And again, everyone can smile and say, oh yeah, I get it. And when the rubber meets the road, do you really get it? I don't know.
Yeah. That's the thing. I always tell people, just learn everything. Money won't come until you have the knowledge. Just learn, make up theses about the stuff that you believe in. For me personally, I've been in Solana. I learned a lot about Bitcoin, what it stands for. I learned a lot about Ethereum. And the more I learn about other chains, the more I'm sure I'm in the right place here in PulseChain. That's the crazy thing. I'm not just learning about PulseChain and why it's great. I'm looking at what's out there. And let me tell you, PulseChain is where I want to be, where I know it is the right place to be.
Definitely.
So yeah.
Well, again, great conversation. What do you want to take us out on? What's any positive sentiment, any bearish undertones, anything you wanna leave the community before we wrap this one up with?
Yeah, I mean, I say this a lot. We have one bull run every 4 years. So you want to make the best out of it. You can go in the stock market, be confident, make a 10%, 5%, 5 to 10% APY, not even APR, APY per year. Is that going to have you retire? No. It's going to maybe allow you to retire at 60 instead of 70. We're here because we're glad crypto's a thing. You know what I mean? Like, at the same time, it's an instrument that allows people to work in a smart way to make money. I say this a lot, diminishing returns. Bitcoin's no longer having the ability to give us 100x anymore. Same thing with Ethereum. So it's all about what is the leverage of Bitcoin, which is Ethereum, what is the leverage of Ethereum, which is PulseChain. We're both directly leverage of it and indirectly because of the sacrifice phase, the sacrifice funds, and in general, we're in altcoins. So of course, altcoins feed off of the movement of Ethereum. So just make the best out of this bull, and we have it every 4 years. So PulseChain is the solution. PulseChain will set you free. The 4 core tokens, not financial advice.
PulseChain.com. I like PulseChain. I do. Hex, of course, Hex too. Talk a lot about PulseChain. Hex is where it started, and boy, Hex is there's no product like it. Hex.com if you're interested in true DeFi product for yield, and I like yield good. Number go up, I like yield. Price go up and yield go up. Boy, that's a recipe for a good day, I think. Khaled, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we needed to have Hex. Hex ran so PulseChain can walk, so that we can eat.
I like it. Yeah. Hex can run, PulseChain can walk, so we can eat. Hope we're all eating good in 2025. I want some a lot of good food out there, a lot of good healthy food. Well, I say that, and I'm about to hit a fast. Like literally, I've been fasting I just started, but I say that there's a lot of good food. There's time for good food, and there's time for
detoxing
to detox. There you go. Yeah. Detox it in the food atmosphere. Khaled, where can people find more about your stuff and your content?
On my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/KhaledOnCrypto. My Twitter is as well, KhaledOnCrypto. Just one thing as well, I do wanted to mention. I did just have a crypto security course, which I have a 100% code discount for anyone who uses Richard Hart Maximalist as a coupon. So yeah.
Okay. First I'm hearing this. All right. Oh,
I just uploaded one like a couple of days ago. Just worked because I've had a lot of people message me not knowing a lot. They're overlooking the security side of things, like operational security in crypto, unfortunately, and just jumping straight into, Telegram, crypto. But unfortunately, they fall for social engineering. They get hacked. They don't know how to secure their passphrase. And it's quite sad because I've seen a lot of people who are viewers of mine lose money. And it's like, you didn't lose money because you made a bad investment. You lost money because, someone was greedy, because, they forgot their passphrase. So it's quite sad, actually.
I mean, I hate to, it is like, I hate seeing people lose money. However, you did remind me of a meme, the meme where he's looking in the mirror. He's like, you're not a bad trader. The market's wrong. It's like, you didn't lose all your money. You just clicked the wrong link. Like, no, not that. Sad. It sucks. It sucks. That meme came to mind. But speaking of that, it's a great segue too. Everyone on the channel, come tomorrow around the same time. I've got Crypto Calm coming on. We're doing like an hour and a half stream on security, deep diving, talking about VPNs and the pros and cons of them as well. I have some opinions on that. Talking about a little bit about hardware wallets, software wallets, links. Probably get into Telegram. Probably get into different scam stuff too. Windows. Stop using Windows. I'll yell it. I'll keep yelling the rooftop. Stop using Windows.
Use something. Using Linux.
Yeah. Well, I never, as Richard would say, it's no benefit to tell anyone what you're using if you're in crypto. But there's definitely, I'll say there's some alternatives, and I don't have a favorability score of 100 on Windows. I'll say that. Mac.
Well, I'm using Mac. So where does that?
There you go. I like it. Hey, you were ahead of you were in the 1% of crypto right there just by using a Mac. Yeah. So come tomorrow. Anyone who's interested in security stuff as well on that. So anyways, everyone, hope you enjoyed the show. That's all we got for you today. Scivive and 5555. We are out.